Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Have You Ever Played podcast, the only podcast that is available day one on Game Pass. I'm Matt, aka Matt Fun Dude, and who are you?
I'm James, aka Afro4E.
And James, today we are going to be covering quite a lot of content. We're going to be covering the Summer Games Fest announcements as well as the Xbox Showcase announcements.
Ease.
So we're gonna just get right into it in a second, but I do want to mention one news topic before we get into all of the game coverage. James, have you been following any of the Team Fortress 2 news recently?
I've really just heard about it against my will.
Basically, Team Fortress 2 is a dumpster fire again. And there's bots everywhere. You cannot get into games without a million bots mic spamming at you and aimbotting. It is worse than it has ever been right now.
hmm
Now, I wanted to talk about this because there's a hashtag going around, like fix TF2 or save TF2. Now they did this. The community came together and did this like a year ago or something, and it got one response on Twitter from Valve, basically saying we hear you, and then they didn't do anything. So now they're bringing back the movement, and there's a petition website. And on that petition website, as I was writing down our outline, it had 240,000 signatures, which is pretty crazy.
hmm
Uh, so basically, there's a video right now from a creator on YouTube called Zesty Jesus. And because you haven't been following this, you have not seen this video, I assume.
Yeah.
So there's two videos. One video called TF2 Nobody's Home, and in this video, it is displayed that a majority of the Team Fortress 2 player base, pretty much like 75% of the player base, not to just throw out baseless numbers, but a huge portion of the player base is just bots.
hmm
And not just the average aimbot bots that you see in games. There is thousands of bots that exist to farm items while AFK in private servers, and they are
hmm
just farming items to sell all day long, which is extremely depressing when you consider people's argument that Team Fortress 2 isn't dead. There's tons and tons of players. Well, in a follow up video, Zesty Jesus found 60,000 bot accounts through a bunch of methods. We should watch both of those videos, by the way,
Sheesh.
because it's crazy the methods people are using. And yeah, it's very disheartening.
hmm
Mhm. Do you have any thoughts on the whole scenario? I know you've been forced to hear about it.
Yeah. um, I don't know. It's hard because from what I understand, uh, especially in Valve's case, because of their company structure, they don't really work on things very much that don't capture their interest. And they're kind of known to release a thing and kind of move on to the next thing sometimes. And I think at the very least, where the community's owed a statement of like how important TF2 is to them at the moment, because they've got they're working on Valve almost at all times. Valve is working on like new games, whether they actually come out is a whole different thing. But Valve does work on a lot of things, so I would imagine that this, what I presume is like not no small undertaking, would set them back to some degree. So I
Especially
I kind of I kind of think
Mhm.
it's just a matter of, if they're not going to fix it, I think they at least need to communicate that they're not going to fix it.
Yeah, I agree. Especially since the source code was leaked a while back, people found out that the game basically is spaghetti code, and I kind of assume that they're not going to put out a statement because I'm not sure if they plan on fixing it or if it's financially reasonable for them to fix the game if it's in a state that's so broken that they won't want to put the resources toward fixing it, which is very unfortunate. But it also is a really bad situation in which they're not doing anything to fix this game that has a crazy and semi-active economy where people are spending real money all the time on it. And what does
Hmm.
that say for Dota 2 or Counter Strike for the longevity of those games and their economy?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I hope they do something to try to fix the game. It would be nice to be able to play in a lobby and not get harassed by a million bots, but it's been like this for years.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess we'll have continuing coverage of the fixed TF2 movement as we continue to move forward in the weeks. It seems to be maybe dying down a little bit right now, anyway, which is, it's not a hot topic issue as it was. But I think there's kind of like a finger on the pulse moment where Penguin Zero, aka Critical, made a video about the event, which is pretty funny when
Yeah.
content creators not associated with Team Fortress 2 start talking about it. Someone messed up. He also did a video on Overwatch 2 during the
Yeah.
cancellation of PVE.
I feel like there's always two sides of the coin when it comes to these like popular reactions. Like it's there's the moist critical side and there's the Asmongold side where one is like one everybody loves and the other one everybody hates.
You know that your problem is a huge issue when React streamers start talking about it, and it's
Yeah.
big enough that it's outside of like the hobby drama bubble.
Hmm.
Well, I wish the Team Fortress 2 team and everyone, all one person, luck, and I hope the game is fixed. But you know what we can look forward to? A million other games. So let's get right into this, James. Do you want to kick us off with the Summer Games Fest games?
Sure. So these are gonna be I can't even necessarily say semi in order because so I watched all of these in order, but Matt's order was a little different because he kind of came in part way through the stream. So we're gonna start with No More Room in Hell. And so this game was it was a little weird because it's trying to do this whole thing where it's co-op, but you all spawn in different areas and you kind of have to find each other. And I think that's a really cool concept. I've kind of thought about it a lot where it's a game that's basically co-op, but you're not all working towards the same thing at the same time. I had initially thought it'd be cool in like a single player game, for example, if you were doing some sort of mission and somebody else was doing a completely different objective and you could like see, I don't know, maybe they set off a bomb somewhere and you can kind of see it in the background, like something like that. And I think there's potential for some similar stuff to that. So it's a zombie game for the people that didn't see it. And I guess more to be more specific, it's zombie survival. I believe it's mostly at night. And it's obviously a hint of horror with you being alone and trying to find your friends. And yeah, that's kind of all I know about it, honestly.
So I didn't get to see this trailer as much as the other ones based on the videos that I watched.
Hmm.
But from the brief glimpses I saw, uh, I clocked a zombie U type connection. I don't know why it gives me a zombie U vibe, but I do find the idea of it's 8-player co-op, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 8-player kind of all over the place co-op is very interesting. I think a lot of games looked toward Lethal Company, or maybe everyone was just kind of in the same mind space where making multiplayer experiences that are kind of non-traditional and they are not all taking place at the same time. People are having their own perspectives and running around doing their own things. I think that's going to be a popular trend. And there are some other games that we'll see later that are very similar. There's also a lot of zombie games this year, and I think the overall theme of the year is Spider Verse frame rate and Souls like games in Asia. I don't know if you got that vibe.
A little bit. I think what we're seeing right now is lots of studios took inspiration from similar things at similar times. So
Mhm.
naturally they're all coming out at similar times. It's really interesting. You kind of see it with the hero shooter thing as well. I'm really curious how it's going to turn out cuz I feel like lots of these may not do too great cuz it'll mostly be down to just who executes it the best cuz I there are system differences for some of these, but some of them don't have like huge system differences or things that are so innovative that it would make you definitely play this one over another, especially with some of their similar release windows. Not everybody's going to be able to buy each one.
Yeah, James and I wrote pretty extensive notes for each game, and I found myself writing pretty dismissive, boring, or this all feels the same by the end of the games.
Yeah.
And that's somewhat of a criticism I have with the Xbox presentation as a whole. I thought it was very successful. I just thought it was too long. I don't know if you
hmm
felt the same way.
Yeah. So it's funny because I remember when I was younger and I would watch E3, I'd be sitting down all day basically just watching all these games get revealed. But now when I look at this like presentation that's over an hour, I'm like, oh, okay, let's get a move on here. And
I think the
I guess
30
that is one
minutes was the
thing.
best.
Yeah, I guess that is one thing that I do kind of, I guess, appreciate a little more is that Geoff he wasn't rambling like he normally does at the Game Awards. He was kind of snappy, even though there were a million things that had to be put on the screen.
I think it was the lack of some of the musical numbers that
Oh my
helped it
god.
along. Uh, so, just showing gameplay. Xbox did show a lot of gameplay,
Well, to be fair,
but it was a lot.
if they did musical numbers, they probably would have been copyrighted.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that down the list. We're gonna go through this at a decent pace because there's a lot to cover. It's gonna be a longer episode.
Yeah.
Please don't get offended if some games are just kind of shrugged off. That we don't have interest in. We tried to find stuff we were more interested in.
hmm
But anyway, back to the overall theme of this year, Phantom Blade Zero. Now, this game is some sort of Souls. It looks like a Souls like or Neo like game.
hmm
And you fight one thing that I wrote down of note. There's a boss called Commander Cleave, and that's cool.
Yeah. I wish more of these games would take themselves a little less seriously. Honestly.
It might seem like a placeholder name though, but Commander Cleave is kind of great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've kind of skipped through that trailer a little bit. I would have to see if people say the game is good. It has to, if it has a good
Yeah.
reception, I might be interested. There's just too many similar games, and not all of them are going to be good.
Yeah, this one didn't do too much to stick out for me among all the other Souls slash Sekiro likes, unfortunately. But yeah, who knows? Could be good.
Yeah, I think we'll hear the cream will rise to the top of the Souls like games, and we'll know which ones are good.
Yeah.
But speaking of good Souls like games, Monster Hunter Wilds, which is not really Souls, but the
Jesus
gameplay is kind
Christ.
of like Souls. Uh, yeah, this is a another entry into Monster Hunter, which is the follow up to World.
Yeah.
There was Rise in between, but that was the end of the old era of Monster Hunter. This is the first sequel to the new era of Monster Hunter, and I
hmm
really enjoyed World a lot. James, did you ever have a chance to play World?
Yeah, I played World. I didn't finish it, but when I did play it, I quite enjoyed it.
hmm
Yeah, I'm
I
definitely
think
looking
that
forward to this one. Might not be something I buy like on release, but I think I'll get to it eventually.
yeah, it might be worth waiting for a sale and for more content to be
hmm
finalized. But Monster Hunter, they're always good. I don't think there's really a bad Monster Hunter game. I mean, some people may say the originals, but beyond that, I think there hasn't really been a bad Monster Hunter game. And
hmm
I really liked the world universe compared to Rise. I thought Rise was a cool love letter to the old old era of Monster Hunter. It has every monster ever in it, whereas World was new, so it had some lacking content. But this should be a huge content boost. It just adds on to whatever World did good. So that's
Yeah.
just exciting. I mean, there's not too much to say about Monster Hunter. Not like this next game. Not like this crazy innovative next game. James, you want to take that away?
Indeed. Next game is Civ 7. So I don't know much about the Civ series personally. The biggest reveal for me was seeing Sid Meier. I didn't know that guy was real.
Wait, I
Like
didn't. I didn't pay attention to that.
yeah, he
John
was
Sid
just
Meier.
yeah, he just talked.
Oh,
Like he had like a pre-recorded thing.
oh, I was skipping through it because it was Civ 7.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, wow. Like I thought this was like a Tom Clancy deal where this guy just wasn't associated with the series at all.
Well, he liked pirates at one point in his life. That was a game. Sid
Yeah.
Meier's Pirates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually not.
I
Okay, yeah, yeah.
thought that he died. Who died?
No. I was trying to look back to see when he talked, and I thought that I was like going crazy, but it turns out that they misput the timestamp for Black Myth Wukong, and that's just when he starts talking.
Oh, maybe he is the Black Myth Wukong.
Maybe.
I don't know how I heard someone died, but I'm glad Sid Meier's alive and kicking and pushing Civ
I mean, let's
7.
not. Let me check. Let's not speak too too soon because that was pre-recorded.
This is a roller coaster.
Okay, yeah, I think he's fine.
Okay, good. Whew, we can rest easy.
Yep.
I thought Civ 6 wasn't done yet. I thought people still played 5.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
I think people still do prefer 5, but I think that's what happens with all the Civ games. They'll
Okay,
play
so yeah, Civ
the
6 came out in like 2016. So it looks like I don't know, it looks like it exists. Can't really
Yeah,
say
I'm
much about like
sure
the
it'll be good
quality.
eventually. People will probably be like play Civ 6 instead and then they'll wait till 8 comes out then they'll play 7. That's kind of how these games work.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on, not too much to talk about. If you liked Civilization, you'll enjoy the new installment eventually. That's kind of how I feel about a lot of these entries that aren't that unique. But this is kind of a unique entry coming up. And James, you might have more to say about it because I have not been following Star Wars Outlaws at all.
Yeah, so Star Wars Outlaws uh, I didn't get any like strong vibes from the trailer. It kind of looked like it was doing a little bit of what the Respawn Star Wars games are, and as of late, I think Respawn make the best Star Wars games. Probably they haven't really had a shot at a shooter yet. Every time they try, it seems like it just gets canceled. Just very unfortunate. I think they still have one in the pipeline, so maybe we'll hear about that soon. And yeah, I don't know. When I was watching the trailer for this game, all I kept thinking about is like, man, I'm thinking about all those canceled Star Wars games that looked a little like this.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wrote
Sad
down in the
times.
comments it could be good or terrible, and there's kind of no in between. It's either going to be what was the game that you said it was the Metroidvania one? Um,
Metroidvania one.
it's the one that's good
Oh yeah,
with
yeah, the Respawn
the
Star Wars games. So Jedi
yes.
Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, it's either gonna be a Fallen Order or just fall off. I don't know. It could be good.
Yeah,
That's too soon to tell.
you just kind of have to wait till it's released. I think that's the case with like every Star Wars game, to be 100% honest. It's really easy to
Now,
make this stuff look cool, but I think it's also very easy to make it look forgettable because it all kind of it's weird because it all kind of looks cool if you haven't seen it before, but we've seen a lot of this stuff before.
they also showed like 5 seconds of like renders. They didn't really show anything.
Yeah.
So, but you know what game is going to be a certified banger? Harry
Oh,
Potter Quidditch Champions. This is a
oh,
wild game to me. Um, I remember the PS2 era Quidditch game, and I actually rented that from Blockbuster, but couldn't get into it for whatever reason. But I think people enjoy that game. So having a game come out in that space is kind of cool. I do think it's really crazy to see renders of Harry Potter like movie characters, like actually seeing a Daniel Radcliffe looking character model in current year kind of blew my mind. It's really bizarre. This game has a
yeah.
Sims 4 art style, which I kind of like, but it's weird.
I think the thing that really caught my attention from this trailer was the first few seconds where they talked about like, oh, we dream of flying through the sky like our heroes. And my thing is, I thought Quidditch was like a Hogwarts thing. I didn't know there was like professional Quidditch, and that it was something
Bro,
that
did you read
people
the
watched on
fourth book?
TV
They go the whole fourth book. They're at the Quidditch World Cup. It's like footy, man. It's like soccer. It's
for
like
sure.
football. No, it
Foodie
is.
bowl.
Um, no, it's a big thing. It actually is a
Okay,
big thing,
okay, I was not sure.
and I think people enjoyed the gameplay of the standalone game,
Yeah, I
so
remember
this
I heard
could
a
be
while
cool.
ago that it was decent.
There's some Sebastian Sallow skin in the game. That's a character. That's the Slytherin boy from Hogwarts Legacy, who's pretty cool. And there's like a skin from one of the brooms, so that's kind of cool. They're tying in elements. I was wondering if this was like Portkey Games, the people who did the Hogwarts Legacy, but I don't know. I don't think they showed a developer, or I'm not informed. But could be good. It looks visually kind of fun, even though it's a little mobile game, Sims 4e. But yeah, it could be interesting. Moving
Hmm.
on to the next game. Did you check this one out at all?
Yeah, a little. So, yeah, the next game's called Tough Bust. So the idea is that I think it's like a bunch of aliens that are trying to stage a prison break. It's very
Hmm.
odd. They emphasize a lot that it's made by one dude, which I
Oh, I
thought
didn't
was
get that at all. Even though I guess they emphasized it.
yeah. In like the full presentation, they kept saying it's made by one dude, but it looked cool. I think it's one of those games where the guy who made it is all like, I'm totally not doing any illicit substances. I just thought of this naturally when it is a very crazy concept. Is the redditors are going to eat this up?
Yeah, there's these like gummy bear, cute plush, Rick and Morty esque, like minions, almost rabbids esque creatures that yell and swear, and you're in first person trying to break out of jail. And it seems again like a Lethal League type thing, where you and the boys all go do some sort of multiplayer thing that isn't necessarily like a combat versus. It's like
Yeah.
doing a jailbreak, which does seem pretty fun.
Hmm.
The rise of the non-standard multiplayer game. You heard it here first.
Indeed.
Any other comments on that game?
No, I think that's about it.
Cool. The next game is called Neva. I believe it's the
Yeah.
name of the dog elk creature thing in this indie darling 2D walking game that looks really good. It's by like the Grizz devs. I never played that. I'm probably saying all the names wrong. It visually looks very good. It's
Yeah. It's a very pretty
2D
game.
indie darling.
It also seems like a very efficient and like not too high budget art style. Like it's got lots of I don't know what you call it, but like the all the stuff in the foreground looks like it's a shadow of the background, kind of.
Hmm.
I don't know. They're
Let
just
me
doing
take a
cool
look.
stuff with the lighting. Looks good.
Yeah, style over technical. It's always
Yeah,
gonna look good. I'm just concerned about the well-being of the animal companion. It feels like they're going to die.
as
I I
always.
I just assume they're going to die. It's an indie 2D beautiful beauty game. Someone's gonna die, and I don't know. I haven't played that. I haven't played any of these, so who knows?
Hmm.
Now we mentioned this game earlier under the wrong section. Perhaps you
Yeah.
could bring this one up.
Yes, Black Myth Wukong.
Hmm.
So this one's really interesting. I haven't actually seen gameplay of this game yet. I'm pretty sure it's out there, but it's coming out in about 2 months. Looks to be like a Sekiro Souls like type deal, but it's Wukong. It's like Journey to the West and stuff.
Monkey,
I'm watching some gameplay as we speak.
Andy Circus,
Oh, okay. This is very
Planet of the Apes.
huh.
You're
It's
just watching.
really it's really odd. There's lots of damage numbers. It's not.
Hey, it's one of those things where it could be a banger, like a Neo, but it's there. There's multiple flavors of these Souls-like games all happening at
Yeah.
once, and like I said, the good ones will rise up, and the ones that are weird will just kind of go by the wayside. It is
Yeah.
cool to do a huge Journey to the West game that
Yeah,
looks
I
like
think
this
this
though
one is
visually.
definitely sticks out because of the concept a little more. So I think Journey to the West. I know there have been games based on it, but I think they've like lots of them have had other things going on, and I also think that they haven't necessarily been the highest quality. So here's hoping this one is good.
Yeah. And do you know what will probably be good for the people who enjoy it? Warhammer
No,
40K, Space Marines 2. I haven't played any of these
yeah,
games. I tried to get in, but I don't know where to start.
yeah.
If you like it, you'll probably like it.
With all these Warhammer games, I feel like I always get a few hours out of them, and I'm kind of like just eh. It's big dudes killing monsters and bugs, and sometimes other very mentally ill dudes. And
Speaking of big
yeah,
mentally ill dudes, just get rid
oh
of right
god,
off of Warhammer. I think you probably have more to say about this
yeah.
next game than I do.
Oh man, yeah. Batman Arkham Shadow. This was a very this was a very interesting announcement. Let's say. So everybody fresh off of the Suicide Squad game that everybody didn't like. Rocksteady were like, we're making another Arkham game, and everybody was really excited. And then they said, oh, but it's a MetaQuest 3 exclusive. Suddenly, everybody was very not excited. And then we were told it's about Batman fighting the Rat King. Yeah, this is a. I don't know. This doesn't feel like an Arkham game at all. It just feels like they're kind of using the title. It's very
It's kind
weird.
of a shadow of an Arkham game, if you will.
Yeah, yeah,
This has big Diablo mobile energy when they announced that. Like this has
yeah.
big you have phones, don't you energy.
And like my thing is, even even if it was for like consoles and PCs, I think the concept would not have people that excited. So I don't even think it's a Diablo Immortal thing where like they can just figure out how to get it on PC and then people will be not happy necessarily, but like people play it.
It's kind of the thing with VR games though. It's cool they're still supporting VR, but when you see a franchise you like and then you see VR, it's kind of disappointing, especially since I don't have VR and I can't really play
Yeah,
these games. And it's always going to be a lesser experience, at least as of now.
yeah.
It's just good they're supporting it.
I think they need to just give VR more time. I think they're trying to. So I understand what they're trying to do, and I think there should be games made for it, definitely. But I'm not sure how I feel about not only using a major IP, but like so it's not like if they just made a Batman game, like a regular Batman game for VR. They've actually done that before, and it's been fine. I think it's the fact that they're advertising it as not a mainline Arkham game, but like the primary draw is that it's an Arkham game. It's very odd.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense to sell copies of their VR game. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
just kind of
I
feels
don't
like
have
people
too
got
much to say.
baited in a little bit. It's unfortunate.
Well, the next game, I got baited because I started watching the stream right around this time. I think there was a mistake during the live stream when they announced this. So this announcement is for Street Fighter 6. There's a ton of
Hmm.
Fatal Fury characters being added. If you don't know Fatal Fury, that would be Terry from Smash Brothers. That's who that character is.
Hmm.
The notable Smash Brothers Ultimate character Terry. He's here. He's in Street Fighter 6. I thought they
Oh
were
my God,
announcing
Terry.
a new Fatal Fury game, which I think they did later. There was some weird things that happened, but they're announcing that a
Yeah.
bunch of characters are being added. Very cool is what I wrote.
Hmm.
Um Shout outs to my whose character model is maybe toned down. I'm not sure. We didn't really see anything. I know Street Fighter has had trouble in the past with their character like Armika, who they couldn't show on ESPN in one of the outfits because it was too inappropriate to show on
Yeah.
ESPN. So I don't know how they'll show any of these characters on ESPN, but good luck to Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
And James, you have way more. information about this next game in terms of understanding what if it's good or not. I have
Uh,
no input.
yeah. So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This is effectively the fourth Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi game, which for people who know it, you know it. And yeah, these games are generally held in very high regard. The 3D Dragon Ball fighting games. The main draw is that they have like just everything Dragon Ball is in there. You know, all the versions of the characters, all their various forms and and stuff like that. It's very much just a Dragon Ball fans game. And so the main draw with this is that it's the it's the first one game of this kind in maybe like 12 years or something like that. People were convinced that after Budokai Tenkaichi 3 they just weren't making them anymore. And they're not necessarily high quality fighting games. They're good, but they're not great. It's not up there with like Dragon Ball Fighter Z and stuff like that. It's more just mindless fun, especially with they used to have this mechanic. I'm not sure if it's still there, where if you and your opponent both use a beam based attack, you do a beam struggle, and the way that you would win the beam struggle is by rotating both of your analog sticks very fast. And whoever I think it was whoever was doing like more rotations per second would start to win. And so it was notorious for breaking analog sticks.
Wonderful.
Yeah, especially today, I don't know if that would work with how easily some of these controllers break. But
Yeah.
they revealed some really cool idea, or I don't know what to call them, like ideas, mechanics, concepts, systems, whatever. The idea is that you make decisions throughout the story because everybody's played the Dragon Ball story before, but you can make decisions that kind of take you off of the beaten path. Like what if Goku went here alone? What if this character died at this time to make these characters do different things? Stuff like that. The really funny one I found was I think it was when like with Vegeta killing Krillin when he's in his grade 8 form, and Goku just goes Super Saiyan there, like a full arc early. I don't know. It's lots of really stupid stuff. Apparently, there's like a whole custom story mode where you can just make your own story, and all the fan fiction people and the people who made those really corny, like mid 2000s Dragon Ball YouTube videos with like some character going like Super Saiyan 11 or something like that. They're all going to be very happy with that, and you can put them online and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So yeah, for Dragon Ball fans, it's a very exciting game. I'll probably buy it eventually. Might not buy it immediately, but it definitely seems like something that'll be really fun to play, especially with
Y-
friends.
yeah, those anime games hit like $2 on the Steam sales all
Mhm.
the time.
Yeah, I'm not sure how low this one would go because I know it's gonna be extremely popular. Like lots of people are gonna play this game. This is easily the most popular uh series of Dragon Ball games, and probably one of the most popular series of anime games, to be honest.
Now, this next game I think will be one of the least popular games in its genre.
Uh,
The really generically named Delta Force Hawk Ops, which sounds like a tribal tattoo that you would get. It's just a list of things you do. It's like a list of war things.
yeah,
What is this game? Is this a Tom Clancy game? I wrote boring shooter Tom Clancy ass game. I don't think it even is related to Tom
I don't
Clancy.
think it's Tom Clancy. I mean, Tom Clancy. He is long gone, unfortunately. So I
Mhm,
I don't even think
but
I think even
it
if this were related to him, I definitely don't think he would sign off on it.
this is like a Tom Clancy game.
Yeah.
I wrote SWAT Payday, and also wrote in all caps, "Who cares?"
Hmm.
So people who like tactical shootery stuff. There's a couple tactical SWAT shootery. I don't even know. It could be Payday esque, whatever. Who cares? I
Hmm.
don't. Some people might. I really don't. Moving on, Fatal Fury. I think there is a game. Fatal Fury COTW. The announcement was really messed up. I'm very confused. Uh, it has a cartoon comic art style. It kind of looks good, but
Yeah.
also kind of looks bad. It's like 2D, 3D, but bad because Guilty Gear Strive is so good looking that
Hmm.
anything that isn't Guilty Gear Strive kind of looks cheap and bad.
Yeah.
So, no other comments about that. I don't know if you have
Yeah.
any
I don't
comments.
know. I don't really have too much to say. I thought the way that they started the trailer was kind of cool, where it was, paying homage to like all the people that played it in arcades and things like that, and the memories people have of it. But the actual gameplay stuff didn't look. I guess it isn't even technically actual gameplay, but the game part didn't jump out at me too much. This kind of looked like it's a Japanese fighting game.
Well, it's a fighting game in a storied franchise. It could be good
Yeah.
or bad, but like again, going back to like a Guilty Gear Strive announcement and just seeing that, it just mind blowing where it just took that game series to another level. This seems like another par for the course kind of game.
hmm
Uh, James, perhaps you could talk about this next one because it is really forgettable to me.
Yeah, Once Human. So really funny thing about this, when I saw the trailer start, there used to be this game called Two Human, and it was an Xbox exclusive, I believe. And I loved this game growing up. It was apparently pretty bad, and the studio basically got shut down because of it. I think Epic Games just straight up sued them.
For
It
being
was
too
something.
human.
Yeah, it was something with their use of Unreal Engine 3. I don't know. I would have to do all the research again, and that sounds like a pain in the ass. But yeah, I thought it was a Q
Oh, I think
Human
I've heard this story too,
sequel or
actually, now
something.
that you say that.
Yeah, I forgot what the studio was called, but anyway, yeah, I thought it was somehow related to Human. Not really. It does look kind of cool though. I'm definitely interested in it. Gonna keep an eye out for another trailer. You
Hmm.
did write down that it looks a little bit like Remnant from the Ashes. I actually maybe it's because I was so focused on the Two Human thing, but I didn't get that vibe until the end,
Yeah.
especially with the like the four players running at the boss, and then the red sky with the release date. This is coming out July 9th. Actually, it's only a month away.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
I'll need to do more research into this game. It
Yeah,
looks kind of cool. I think it's one of those things that it could either be really good or just really forgettable. Honestly,
that's the problem with a lot of these games. It's like it's kind of cool. There are so many announcements that are so meh that I feel like they could have done two separate showcases and kind of peppered them, throughout the year, not just
I will
one
say
giant
I
thing.
think it is very rare that these third person shooters, these third person co op shooters, are able to make the enemies and bosses particularly engaging.
Even
From what I
Remnant kind of
saw,
doesn't, to be honest.
even what?
Even Remnant kind of doesn't. Even this though, this like the best in that
Yeah,
space.
Remnant definitely has a couple stinkers. But yeah, I think the lore is gonna matter a lot here. The environments look pretty cool. Or okay, I can't say they all look pretty cool. Some of them look pretty cool. Like that thing that they did with the house with legs. I thought that was really
That's
interesting.
Baba Yaga. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's some classic folklore character
some
from
classic
RuneScape and
Falkler.
no other culture from RuneScape culture.
Yeah, yeah. I'm watching the trailer back. There's also this one scene with this giant and a bunch of minions in this snowy forest that looks really pretty. Like there are definitely some. Why is there just a snowman? Wait. There's just a walking snow. Oh my god, the snowman has a gun. There's pets.
Well, okay,
Okay,
came with
wait.
gear.
This completely changed my opinion. There's a nutcracker pet with a gun too. Okay, I'm definitely I'm gonna get around to this game
Advertising pets
eventually.
in your announcement world premiere trailer,
They didn't even
game of the year.
advertise it. They're just there. They're just casually there.
I feel like we're getting some slop. I don't know if you've been feeling that. I think there's some
I don't know.
slop
I don't know.
they've been
I
feeding
think
us.
the pet changes everything. 10 out of
Okay.
10.
We'll come back. We'll come back to Once Human one day, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I want to talk about this next game. It's exciting, but it's a little confusing. It's called Metaphor ReFantazio. I didn't hear them say it. It's Persona
Yeah.
people, and it really looks like Persona. It looks very similar. The UI elements look very similar to Persona 5.
Yeah.
It is not Persona 6. It is its own medieval, almost Fire Emblem like JRPG game, but it's
hmm
it's very Persona. It seems like combat wise looks almost exactly like Persona, and there's probably S
Yeah.
links, but it's more Fire Emblem type characters. So I'll
Yeah.
play it probably. I liked Persona.
Yeah. It looks really cool. Definitely. I was also a little confused when I watched it the first time. I had to watch the trailer again. But yeah, it definitely looks cool. I'm not the craziest about turn-based combat for the most part, so I think what would draw me to the game is the stuff besides that. I think if the game around the turn-based combat is very compelling, then I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, well, that's Persona.
Yeah,
That's those games. So
yeah.
I
So
think
I
it'll
don't
be
I don't
like
doubt
that.
they can. I don't doubt they can create that type of experience.
Okay, we have a resident sleeper pick for the next game.
Oh no, yeah. Lego Horizon Adventure. This one is. It's very interesting. I don't know what the history of Lego making Lego versions of games is. I don't know how many times they've done it, but I feel like this is really out of left field,
I
especially with
think the property is weird.
yeah, especially with Horizon. I can understand a little more if okay, actually no, I couldn't understand a little more if they did God of War. I don't know why I thought of that.
That would be no God of War would be awesome.
It would be really funny, but I don't know how they would make it work. They'd have to. It would just be like some weird parody version of Kratos. But yeah, I don't know because it feels like whenever these games get made into Lego games, they kind of all go towards a specific. I don't know how to describe it. Like lots of the characters go towards specific caricatures, and it doesn't really. It very rarely keeps the tone of the game, which I guess is the point. But it's also I'm thinking at that point, then why use the IP besides for some of the cool stuff that's in there? But I don't. Unfortunately, I don't think Horizon has the most cool stuff that super draws people in, and it's also been very unlucky to be released very close to other directly competing games both times.
Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild
Yeah, so
for your open world game.
I'm not sure how popular this one's going to be.
It
And the trailer didn't
looks
really the trailer looked okay. It didn't really sell me though.
visually though, it looks like the best Lego game I've seen. It looks
Yeah.
like the anime or the anime. It looks like the movie Lego movie animation
Mhm.
style, and it
Yeah.
looks like it's trying to be very Lego movie tongue in cheek, which is
Yeah.
interesting to me because Lego games have been their own thing for a while, but this feels like kind of a new start in that franchise of Lego games.
Yeah,
So that's exciting,
what
but
I was
who
actually
cares?
very curious about when I watched the trailer was how they animated it because I know that with Lego movies they use actual Lego pieces for at least some of it, and it kind of felt like they did that for some parts of the trailer. I don't believe they would do it very much for the gameplay, but if it were like that for the cinematics, I think it'd be cool.
Well, I'm not sure about actual Lego stuff for the movie. I know that they used a lot of like shaders and things to make it look like real Lego, and do
Hmm.
all the blemishes and stuff. But I mean, they're obviously gonna scan in, use reference, and do all that stuff. But who knows? Anyway, the next game. Or do you like how these segues are getting less and less inspired? This is kind of how it
Yeah.
feels to watch this presentation.
Okay,
You're just
I've
kind of like,
actually
all
done my
right,
research again.
the next game.
So they had initially tried to do stop motion for Lego movies, but then they just computer generated it.
Yeah, but it's some of the best looking computer generation because
Yeah.
it looks like real
Yeah, it
Legos.
looks like stop motion.
It's
Okay.
great looking. Anyway, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This made me realize I need to play the first one. I own it. I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet. Got to beat Mass Effect 3. It's on my list. It looks really interesting.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
people
really know
really
much
liked the
about this
first one.
series. It does look interesting though. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably play it if I like the first one. Moving on.
Yeah.
A much more interesting thing to talk about. You want to take the reign on this one?
Yeah, so Slitterhead. This was who was this made by again?
I don't know specifically, but it's the silent. It's someone from the Silent Hill
Yeah,
people
yeah, it was somebody from
from
that. But
PTs.
it looked weird cuz at first I was thinking it was going to be like a hard horror game. And then they introduced some combat aspects and there was a little kid going super sane. It was very interesting. God, I hate to say this about everything, but this could be either be really good or really bad. I don't think
I,
it'll come out and be average simply because I think you also noted this. The combat and the horror aspects are a little bit at odds with each other. They have really cool and really scary monster designs, but they really need to make them threatening. And I was a little concerned with how many hits I saw the players taking from them. So yeah,
I,
I think the difficulty and the narrative are definitely going to be what'll determine whether these monsters actually feel scary or whether they just feel like regular monsters that are just in your way, like regular AI enemies.
so I think I'm botching the story here, but I believe Silent Hill was going to be, or the team for Silent Hill and Devil May Cry, the original games, were like the same team. They split to do two different things with the same kind of engine, or maybe I'm
Hmm.
thinking Resident Evil. I think I might be screwing that story up, but
Probably.
what I do know is this game looks like what if Silent Hill was kind of Devil May Cry, except the combat isn't as slick and the scares
Hmm.
aren't as scary as Silent Hill. So it's like, what if we took both of these games and kind of did a meh version of each thing? And it's kind of giving me not a lot of hope for the game.
One thing I did kind of like that seems a little promising for the horror stuff is the way you switch between bodies. I think they could give a lot of just varied experiences with different types of people, and there's lots of potential for some really interesting storytelling if they lean into that a lot, not only with the gameplay but with the narrative.
Yeah, shoutouts to Watchdog Legion. I think that game did that. We can swap. And well, I'll just name all of them real quick. Watchdog Legion, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, you can play the people. And that one David Cage game, Nomad, Soul, whatever. No one played it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that type beat. It's a no it's a David Cage Nomad type beat. That game had David Bowie in it. He eats a lizard sandwich.
Man.
Moving on. Oh, this is the real game of the year. Killer
Oh
Bean.
yeah.
Killer Bean the game. This shocked me. I had to do a deep dive research. So, James, were you familiar with Killer Bean before this trailer? Like the concept of Killer Bean?
I was familiar with the memes, not necessarily the IP.
Yeah, I knew of it through meme. So, for those who don't know, please look up Killer Bean trailer. Killer Bean is a. I found out that it is a short film by one Jeff Liu on YouTube, and they also made a 1 hour and 24-minute full length feature film, which is where a lot of the memes come from, about these 3D Killer Bean characters that love shooting and breakdancing and being in the Matrix. And it's overall just like insane. Now, I thought that this game looked like some sort of itch.io meme game trailer, like the ketamine Mr. Krabs game and all that.
Yeah, I got
But
that vibe.
apparently the developer, there's one dev, and it's Jeff Liu who made the shorts. They're just working
Ooh.
on this game, and this game looks fire. You can breakdance in
Yeah.
combat, and you're jumping through windows. It actually genuinely looks funny as a meme, but it
Hmm.
actually looks like a fun game.
Yeah, I definitely thought it looked really cool. I think it'll depend on how fluidly you can do all those moves in game, but it definitely has potential to be a lot of fun. And I also
Mhm.
think something funny that I found out is that apparently Jeff Liu uses motion capture for some things, not all of them, not even close to all of them, but sometimes he'll use motion capture. So the thought of people doing any of those moves in motion capture is hilarious. Like the grenade one where he put the grenade between his legs and then threw it. Oh man, like
we sh-
motion capturing that would be so much fun.
we should reach out to Jeff Liu to get on the podcast. Unironically, I'll just Twitter DM, be like, hey, I know you've never heard of us, but we've heard of you, and we want to know what it make. We would have to watch the Killer Bean film before we did that, though. We would have to
Yeah,
get really up on
definitely.
it.
We need to get
Uh,
caught up on the lore.
mhm. Speaking of getting caught up in the lore, I have no way to transition to this next game. It's called Unknown Nine Awakening. I wrote, "Who knows? Boring. Nine super cool elites." I don't know what that means.
I'm not
Did
gonna.
you pay attention to this
I'm
at
not gonna
all?
lie. I'm so sorry. I forgot what this one is.
I,
I've gotta like find it again.
I don't
Oh
know if it's
man.
even the game's fault or if it's just like the endurance of watching all of these back to back was getting to me, but I just didn't care at all.
Okay, this one was like the I don't even know how to describe it.
This poor game is probably gonna be the best game of all time. It's like when I thought like Disco
I don't
Elysium. was
Yeah,
bad when it won the indie game because I hadn't heard of it, and it's like the best game of all time.
I don't know much enough about this culture to like comment much on it, like what religion this is based off of and stuff like that. But I I'm sure a lot of effort went into it. So
I'm sorry, Unknown Nine. We just don't know.
yeah,
We don't know. Let's
I
just
just
move
don't know
on.
enough about it.
Oh, this game was wild.
Yeah, this one was something. So the first Descendant, if I remember correctly, this was like the space. I can't tell if it was an MMO or just co-op.
It might be a Destiny like
Yeah, it looked like
or
it
an
reminded me of
Anthem
like
like.
it reminded me of Destiny and Mass Effect. It definitely looks really cool, and it looks like there are some boss fights and stuff like that that could be really interesting. I think the animation for the cinematic is phenomenal.
Hmm.
Whoever did this, big thumbs up. Like the part where the like person in the cat armor or bunny armor or whatever, like they transformed and then like used their tail to jump up multiple floors. And then the dude with all the red energy going around, like this seems like it seems like they're trying to merge magic and science a lot, which is kind of what Destiny did. I never played Destiny 2, so I don't know how good it ended up ultimately being. But
Well, ups, ebbs and flow on that, up and
yeah.
down.
Also, there is a guy in this trailer right before the title of the game comes out that reminds me of PETA from Hunger Games.
Well, there's also a Cassidy from Overwatch vaping as well.
I might have missed that one.
Oh,
But regardless,
it's
lots of
yeah.
dudes.
Well, and then the women. I will say my critique is the art style is a little jarring because it's like the most anime looking anime women, and then
Yeah.
just like unique. It's kind of like how in One Piece you'll have the most crazy unique guy design, and then you'll have like three women designs that are just the same body type.
So
It kind of took me out of it.
I think the vibe I got from it. So outside of the I do agree on the design of the women. Outside of that, I thought the art style was okay. I think when you're looking at it in these wide shots, it looks phenomenal. I think when it gets a little closer, it does look a little. I don't know what it is. Something just looks a little off about it, even with all the designs. But I think that the God, like some of them just look so cool, like at a glance.
I have eyes on this. This is one of
Yeah,
those games. There's a couple games in here that I'm like, I have. I'm gonna keep a lookout on this
I,
game.
yeah. I think part of it is the way that they use like LED lights and stuff like that. Or I guess they're probably not actually LED, but you know what I mean, like the lights on the uniforms and things like that,
Mhm.
and the way that the explosions are tinted with different colors and all that stuff. Yeah, cool looking game overall. Some things do look a little wonky up close, like that guy who was like trying to tear open the eye or whatever it was. His design is very. I'm not too crazy about it. He looks like generic soldier man
Mhm. We'll
with a
have
lot
to
of scars
see
on the
when
side of
more
his face.
information is revealed.
Yeah. Let me check. What's the release date of this one? Did they reveal it? Huh. I don't know. I'm not seeing the release date yet. Oh, as soon as I said it. So July 2nd, actually. So very
Whoa, that's
soon.
really soon.
Yeah. They had this whole long thing with this was one of the girl characters just like sitting down on the beach with her helmet off and they zoom onto the helmet because I guess it's important somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where they can't have their helmets off on all these planets because they'll die because it's giving them oxygen. But she found like a good planet, or I don't know, something like that. Either way, cool co-op space stuff, fun,
Hmm.
maybe good.
Okay, so this next game was a roller coaster for me. This was like, oh man, generic codes. All right, so I'm gonna just. It's called Wanderstop, all caps. Now, they start off the trailer, I believe, by saying from the makers of Stanley Parable, which immediately, if you've played Stanley Parable or if you're familiar, that's intriguing. That is a very subversive, Frog Fractions esque game. Very meta, very interesting. But the
Hmm.
trailer for the game is this generic cozy type game, almost like a Pal World. Pal World isn't cozy, but like a Harvest Moon or a Stardew Valley or Rune Factory. it's just like oh, I'm in Tea Town and I'm collecting tea and farming. It looks like a cozy farming game, which was all the rage a year ago or so. Now, I was kind of falling asleep because I'm like, oh god, boring game. Then there's a very sinister moment at the end where a character's basically having like PTSD, and then there's a meta breaking text box that you see from the character's point of view. They like see a text box in the game,
Hmm.
and it got me very excited. I feel like this game is going to be a sleeper hit if it is what I think it is, where it's going to be like a Doki Doki Literature Club or darker themes hidden within a cozy game. I
Hmm.
think that could be very interesting. If it's a cozy farming game, it's going to be terrible. But I
But
have high hopes. I have high hopes. This is very exciting.
yeah,
This is where I woke up.
yeah.
This is
But
where I woke
however,
up,
it's coming in
and then I felt
2024.
yeah. And James, did you have any other comments about this game?
No, I kind of got the same vibe from it as you did.
Yeah, I woke up for it and then immediately fell back to sleep with the next announcement.
Yep. Right, and then Sonic X Shadow Generations. It's kind of not much to talk about with this one. It's like a remake of Sonic Generations. Like it was kind of a not nostalgia bait, but nostalgia bait. Honestly,
I I didn't think it was so I didn't know what it was when they announced it. I was like, is this a remake of Shadow the Hedgehog? Like is this a collection of
yeah, it was,
modern Sonic games?
yeah.
No, it's a remake.
When they said it's like, oh, it's Sonic and Shadow games, I'm like, Shadow games? You mean like Shadow the Hedgehog? Like that's the Shadow game.
It seems like it's just Sonic 3 and Knuckles for a new generation. It's Shadow inserted into generations because there's a Sonic movie coming out with Shadow in it. It really kind of seems like a
So,
marketing stunt and a little gross, not gonna
I
lie.
don't know. It seems like they might be trying to do some new stuff with Shadow, like story wise, but I believe that lots of these are gonna be existing levels. Not sure.
I don't know. There's not a good track record for Sonic games, especially 3D. It could be bad. People liked Generations, I believe. Maybe if they add some content, that'll be cool. But I don't have high hopes for this game.
Actually, let me look this up to see. Okay, yeah, it's a remaster.
Yeah, no, that's why I had to look it
Okay,
up too.
yeah,
I
I
didn't
want I
get
wanted
that.
to like 100% confirm. Yeah, it's just a remaster basically with extra levels where you just play as Shadow.
And maybe there's more to it that we're not picking up, but it was confusing in the trailer.
Yeah.
And do you know what else is confusing, James? Making MMOs in current day.
Oh man. Yeah. So Dune Awakening. Oh, this one is so weird because I feel like the Dune IP should have these things, but it is way too late. Like God, it all comes from Dune being so hard to adapt, so it's just getting adapted now. But the thing is that now, since it's getting adapted now, they're doing all the things that an IP from when the original Dune book was written would do. It's like, oh, all these things need an MMO. They all need a they all need this. They all need that. Like it's very weird. I guess the only thing that they wouldn't do back then is like the spin-off series, but even then I have my doubts about that. Yeah, it's weird. And with the whole concept being, oh, it's a world where Paul Atreides was never born. I think first of all, it's very easy to meme. There are lots of
Hmm.
worlds where Paul Atreides was never born. Like, geez, you really want to be technical.
I feel like this
Um,
year is also the year of what ifs. There's at least 3 games that have like a what if story in them that we've seen
yeah,
from the announcements.
and yeah, so who knows? Honestly, I think the world of Dune is a little more interesting than people give it credit for outside of Paul Atreides, especially considering the fact that he's only really the main character for 2 of the books out of like 6, and what was supposed to be more before the author passed, and then there's all the books that is that his son wrote, which are not good. Which honestly makes all these Dune spin-offs and what they're doing with the Dune IP a little more concerning, because from what I understand, he's the one approving them.
They're really going all in on Dune because someone was passionate and made two good movies, and now everyone's like, all right, you know what? People love Dune. They'll totally play an MMO, the easiest game to make, an MMO. Um, I wrote future failed MMO. MMOs are hard. Dune is boring. Those are my notes for
Yeah,
this
so I
game.
think I think once Dune Messiah comes out and Denny's kind of done with the series, I think we're going to see a pretty large fall off.
I
On
think that
top of the
show is
fact that
gonna tank as well, the HBO Dune show,
yeah, I don't know. I
and
think
then we'll just
also
never hear about Dune again.
I think what's going to happen is people are going to be in it for the first few episodes, and then if it's bad, it's going to kind of fall off. But anyway, I think especially with what happens after like what they do with the universe after Messiah, it's going to turn off a lot of fans because they're going to be weirded out. So it gets into just some weird stuff. But anyway, next game or next thing, next
Next thing
concept.
based on game, it's Among Us animated. This was a cool segment because the Among Us devs came out,
Yeah.
and basically the story with behind their game is kind of crazy. How Among Us didn't have any success really for years after it was released, and then it got randomly picked up, and then they started
Mhm.
making a lot of money. And it seems like they're putting money back into other indie devs. They started some sort of fund where they're funding indie games, and they also announced they're making an animated Among Us show. It'll probably be pretty good. It's obviously aimed toward kids. There's kind of a crazy voice cast, even though we didn't see anything in the trailer. Um, the Cuphead show kind of gave me hope that this will probably be pretty good. I don't think I'm the
Mhm.
target demographic. I think the kids are gonna like it. It looks inoffensive and harmless.
Yeah, it looked fun.
Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about that.
Yep.
Oh no, the next game.
Oh man. Yeah. So Entoria, the last song. Unfortunately, this one did not stick out to me very much. It just looked like another Elden Ring type thing.
Oh, this was the
For
one that one, yeah,
Enotria, the last song,
they
not
played
Entoria.
Elden Ring and it looks like masks. I thought it was like a Lies of P DLC or something.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of doing a little bit of the what is this, like French, like
Masquerade kind of.
yeah, like masquerade, the night knights, I guess, but with like the fancy curves because they're French and the long noses.
Yeah, it looks like I mean we had a character yelling at us. It's kind of like No Man's War from Dark Souls 2. It's like we had a character
Yeah,
yelling at us saying lines like Margit lines, just being like, "Oh, you'll never fight me." It's like, okay.
yeah. One
If
thing I
it's
did
good, it's
find kind of
good.
cool is that it seems like the character is using a like lots of the characters using melee weapons, but there are guns apparently, and also it seems like the masks are like attached to their faces.
Yeah, they probably changed their build or something. It's
Yeah, and I
probably some
guess like
sort of
the at the end of the
item.
trailer, they like take off somebody's mask, and there's just blood, and the guards let them by. I don't know.
Whoa,
Seems
Persona.
like again, like it is very much like a Souls game or Elden Ring, but it does have a little bit of its own flair. It's not anything like super crazy, but I see a way for it to appeal to its own audience.
Yeah, and if it's gonna be a game that if it's good enough, people will play it. Like people will know about it.
Yeah, I
You
think
know, like
the
Lies of P
whole
was like that.
yeah the whole transforming weapons thing as well could be interesting. Honestly, it's a little more I'm thinking it's looking a little more like Bloodborne kind of, but with like Elden Ring atmosphere, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
You know what isn't hard to describe? Alan Wake 2. Actually, it is kind of hard to describe because I haven't
Yeah,
played any of those games.
neither have
Alan
I.
Wake 2 Night Springs DLC.
Yeah, it
I will
seemed a
say it
lot
makes me
more.
want to play it.
Yeah, it seemed a lot more. I don't know what the atmosphere is called. I guess it was just a lot more like 60s diner atmosphere or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something in the
it's Twilight
1900s.
Zone. It's
Yeah,
a Twilight Zone kind of what if story about side characters from the game that I haven't played, but it
yeah,
looks awesome. That's all I have to say about that.
Hmm.
I was putting myself off from playing Alan Wake because it's one of those games that has a nightmare scenario where there's a remaster and an original, and the remaster was locked behind Epic Games at one point, and
R
it's
and
like, do I
R.
play the remaster? Do I play the original? It was a whole thing, and I haven't decided yet, but I will give that series a try at some point because people love those games.
Hmm.
Anything else to add about Alan Wake 2? He's up
Nah, nah, not really.
and back to sleep for the next game.
All right, yeah,
Did you
New
touch
World.
this game at all?
No, I didn't really touch New World. I had some friends who did. They enjoyed it for a bit, and now they don't. And I'm not
Yeah,
not too interested in it,
I
honestly.
played it. I was really excited. I got in early. I played that. I really liked it. I sat in that queue for like 9,000 people. It's one of the saddest examples of such a game with so much potential. It looks nice. The gameplay was pretty fun, like the PvP stuff. But Amazon games are just like, oh, we need to make this the most homogenized, appeal to everyone product. I know you don't have PvE stuff ready, but like let's make this a PvE loot treadmill game where we have no content and you get to end game and there's nothing to do. There's like four enemies.
Hmm.
I don't think a new DLC will save this game. I'm shocked that they're even continuing working on it. It feels like they're too embarrassed to shut it down. So
I
maybe
mean,
in
they
20
probably they
years,
probably already had stuff done to a certain degree, and they just wanted to see
mhm,
through the development that they had started.
maybe in 20 years, if it's still up, it'll be good. But it really sucks. I check the reviews every so often, the newsletters on Steam, and the comments are usually just like, please fix your broken game. So I was even hopeful that maybe the community who are still actually playing might find enjoyment. I mean, there isn't really anything like it right now. It's just MMOs are too hard to make now. It's just the
Yeah,
graphical fidelity and assets required to make a new MMO is just insane for even a company like Amazon. They can't fund their way to success. Um, it's I wrote dead game ruined by greed. Speaking of, do you want to hit the next topic?
yeah, Dark and Darker. I
Yeah,
I never really had any interest in this game.
I really like it. I played it during the early alpha tests, and it was really fun. I liked it so much that I eventually bought it when they moved off of Steam. They got taken off of Steam because they had some weird, sketchy model issues where Nexon tried to sue them or something, or they were saying to cease and desist. They thought they were using
Hmm.
stolen assets. And I think really they probably just wanted to get their own money by having their own launcher, avoid the Steam cuts. But by doing that, no one plays your game because Steam has the install base and no one wants your bad, horrible launcher. And they announced it's going to go free to play, except with 1,000 caveats that they didn't announce, where I guess a lot of the game is locked behind a paywall. You just have to pay $30, which is like how much it costs to buy the game,
Hmm.
and you can only make one character. Apparently, loot is limited. You can't get over, I believe, uncommon loot, which is insane in a extraction shooter. It's like
Hmm.
you pick up a rare item. It's like, oh no, put that down. You're not allowed to have that. You're only a free to play. In an extraction shooter, where the point of the game is to get loot and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
bizarre. Bizarre. People are review bombing it. I think it's leveling off now because the game is fun and good. We were being a little harsh with this title. I do think the game is a lot of fun. It's just a weird move. Bad choice. Bad move doing the free to play bait and switch. Not cool.
Yeah.
This is another
Oh
what is
boy.
this? Good luck.
Yeah. So Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. I even after rewatching the trailer right before this, uh, I don't know. It just seems like another Japanese sort of Souls-like thing.
I
Not really
wrote all these
anything
games
crazy
blend
that stuck out to
together
me.
at this point for all these
Yeah.
Souls like games. Yeah, I don't know. My notes were not good on this.
Yep.
I wrote
Uh.
fight. I wrote ninja fight.
Yep. But
Do fight.
Skate, cool game. Skate 3.
I hope Skate's
Yeah.
cool, the new one.
Yeah. They didn't show too much. The initial part of the ad was it's kind of weird, honestly.
Are you
Uh,
familiar with Tim Robinson's work? He was in the ad. He's in his Netflix show. I think you should
yeah,
leave.
yeah, I've heard it. I haven't watched the show, but I have heard of him.
Mhm.
I think it went on a little too. God, it wasn't like it wasn't that it was long. I just feel like I was sitting there thinking I would just want to see Skate 3.
Yeah,
So I guess that kind of
that
made it feel like it was going on for too long.
the I liked the fun ad. It was very in his style, but I think the fact that they had that massive ad and didn't show gameplay, and they showed like a snapshot of stuff, kind of gives me fear for the game if they're not showing anything, and
So
also being like,
I
we're still
personally,
alive.
I'm personally not like concerned just because they announced playtests so soon. I just I don't know. It felt like they didn't have much to show, so they kind of put that ad together,
It
and then they
feels like
kind of
they
showed like
should
their
have more to
playtests
show
and
at this
stuff.
point, though.
I mean, it's Skate. I feel like it's one of those things where you just kind of have to play it. I don't know if there's much to really show people about Skate. It's
I
dude skating.
I don't think they really need to change the gameplay all that much. It's just
Yeah,
their environment. They're gonna live and die by their environments and online functionality. That's what
yeah,
the game lives and dies. If you can do some sort of giant open world where everyone can skate together in this cool world, then that's gonna be great. If
hmm
it's not that, then it's gonna be bad. You know, it's gonna die. Maybe at least people will mod it though, and it'll be cool. So
yeah,
I have hopes for it because I don't care about skating at all, but I played Skate and
hmm
Skate was fun. Like Skate was a lot of fun, just exploring and doing crazy stuff. Yeah. So do you know, James? Do you know about this next game?
yeah. I actually was kind of interested in this one, Hyper Lightbreaker. So, your comment was that it looks a little bit like Risk of Rain 2, and I do agree. It did look quite a bit like it, but I think it definitely looked interesting. It's something that I'll keep an eye on. I was looking a bit at the studio's history. They don't have like a lot of games. It seems like they mostly do music stuff. But I guess it's a prequel to this Hyper Light Drifter, which came out back in 2016. It's only 19.99 right now, and I'm not sure what the retail price is. But if this game ends up being like $30 or less, I think I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, people really liked Hyper Light Drifter. I never checked it out
Yeah.
myself. That's why I was a little out of the know on this. I assume it'll be good because I've heard great things about Hyper Light Drifter.
hmm
The next announcement is Pal World's just getting more stuff. We're updating it, guys. You bought this one. We made Craftopia, but you guys bought this one, so rip that. Or Craft World or whatever the other crafting game they made before Pal World. Rip that. We're all of our money's going toward Pal World. I know we're successful now, but we're still going to make. We're gonna take Pokemon designs and we're just gonna keep just riding that line. Just Nintendo lawyers on speed dial, just riding that line. Some of these new
Yeah.
designs, man, are it's so reminiscent. They can do their own thing at this point. Now they've established themselves. They don't need to keep making it so similar. It's a little
Yeah.
embarrassing. That game is good. I'm glad it's getting updated, but come on, like make some new designs.
Man.
Do you have any comments about Pal World?
No, not really. Honestly,
Enter the
I didn't play
Palverse.
it.
Yeah, it's fine. I played it for a little bit. I probably will play it again at some point. Not really for me. Not unlike this next game. This next fantastic entry.
Yep. Valorant for consoles. Huge news for e-couples.
Yeah, I wrote
Big
slop in
day.
all caps.
Yeah, I don't know. I It was weird because they showed all this Valorant gameplay and they were like, "Hey guys, that was recorded on console with a controller," and it's like, "Well,
Whoa.
okay." I mean, I didn't really. Yeah, I feel like there's no distinct feel of what that game is like on a console with a controller, so I can't really. This doesn't really mean anything to me that it was recorded like that.
It's a Counter-Strike styles like it's a Counter-Strike style game in which you need to have aim and headshot and use abilities, but on a controller, so we need aimbot, so it's bad. It's just not gonna work.
Man,
I don't know. Valorant's kind of lame. Valorant's yucky. Riot Games has Infinite Money Arcane Season 2. Watch it now when it comes out. Watch it now when it comes out. It's not out.
Man. All right.
That
Speaking of
concludes.
console, yeah,
Oh yeah,
that would
that concludes
conclude
that segment.
our segment on the Summer Game Fest. But speaking of consoles and things that are yucky and look very gross and icky and bad, Xbox Showcase also happened. Yeah,
PU. That
this is
actually
a
was pretty good.
yeah. So it was actually a decent showcase. Xbox is not a very pretty console. I'm gonna be honest. They need to God, they need to work on a lot of things. And anyway, so first major game was Black Ops 6. So yeah, this is so it's Call of Duty, obviously. I think they did have some kind of cool stuff to show off. I actually looked at some trailers outside of the actual showcase, because I was curious what they were actually doing with the game besides the story. And from what I can tell, one thing they're kind of championing is like lots of accessibility and smoothing out the movement, so you can sprint sideways and backwards and stuff like that, and you can dolphin dive in those directions. And they also have, I believe it's like an auto interact thing where you can set the game to auto mantle over things or auto slide under things for you, because they're trying to make the movement systems more accessible. So I think they're definitely doing some cool stuff with that, and I think it's normally Treyarch that does that kind of stuff. So I definitely, I'm gonna have my eye on the game as far as what it'll offer for inspiration for other games, but I'm not necessarily gonna play it unless the zombies is very good. In which case, I'll just wait for it to be on sale.
I just can't believe there's 6 Black Ops games. Like that number really took me aback. The fact that there's just
Yeah,
6 of these.
it feels weird because so there was Black Ops Cold War, which was technically Black Ops 5, and then Black Ops 4 didn't have a campaign. So it feels really weird for them to go back to the no numbering when they haven't had numbers in Black Ops since Black Ops 4, and they didn't even have a campaign in that one. So really it feels like this is Black Ops 4, honestly.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
don't
weird.
like it. I
But
hope
yeah,
the
I don't know.
game isn't 500 gigabytes on PC.
Oh, it's going to be 300 gigs.
That's the
They
only thing
they already
I can
announced
play
that
as Nicki
it's going to
Minaj.
be like 300 gigs.
As long
That's
as I can play
insane.
as whatever the current popular culture character is of the week, I'll be playing. I'll be paying $20 for that character. I'll be on there throwing Semtex like I did back in middle school.
Oh man,
I'm not buying this
good
game.
old days.
I refuse. I bought Modern War, whatever one I bought recently that we played it for like 2 minutes. It was $70. I'm not buying this new one.
Yep. Speaking
I'm
of the
done.
good old days, Doom: The Dark Ages. This was a very pog announcement. I actually need to. I am installing Doom Eternal as we speak. I haven't played this game since like November 2020, and it was on my old crappy PC, so I'll actually have frames this time. I'm probably gonna restart the game, honestly, because I finished the main game, but I never finished the DLC. But yeah, Doom Dark Ages looks really really cool. I heckin' love Doom. I think they showed very quickly that they were listening to what their community not wanted. Everybody saw the giant mech in Doom Eternal, and they heard, yeah, Doomslayer battled in this, and they were like, well, I want to battle in the giant mech, and Bethesda was like, no,
You don't want that. Add it
or
with
rather,
mods,
he
paid
was like,
mods.
no, but yeah. Anyway, so now there's giant. You got to pilot giant mech and fight in it. There's also mounts. Like a little dragon you can mount that shoots lasers out of its mouth, and there's more melee. There's more melee options. There's like a flail. There's a shield that has a chainsaw on it that you can block with and throw at people. There's also lots of cool new guns. There was one that really stuck out to me where the ammunition was skulls, and it would like crush the skulls and shoot out the skull shards in like an AoE. So it was like a full auto shotgun kind of with a really wide horizontal spread. I don't know. Doom games, very cool, very pog. Play them if you haven't.
I've only played the first one and beat it. It was great. I have Eternal. I should play it before this.
Hmm.
That yeah, that the from what I played from the first game, fantastic. So if this continues being
Yeah.
fantastic, it looked great. I liked the chainsaw shield. I liked the weird medieval setting. It's cool.
Hmm.
It's great.
Yeah. Also, for those of you that haven't played Eternal, from what I understand, this is a prequel to the original Doom 2016. So I don't know if you necessarily need to play Eternal, but there are things in Eternal that are kind of teased at happening in the past, so it might kind of spoil you if you don't play Eternal and then you don't have the I guess you don't have the build up of it. Because what I imagine is going to happen is we're going to see a lot of things happen that we got told happened. It's a lot of happens in one sentence, but so yeah, because it's gonna be there's gonna be more night sentinels and stuff like that, which have always been teased, but you never actually do stuff with them. This just kind of always implied this in the past. But anyway, yeah, very excited for this game. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I'm excited too. I'm gonna go back and try to beat the Doom and continue. A game
Yeah,
I'm not very excited for is State of Decay 3. I think people like these games. I don't know what they are. I wrote zombies are boring, but I think people like these games. I wrote why did I write Life
yeah.
is Strange zombie game?
I don't
I
know.
guess the characters reminded me of Life is Strange characters. And I wrote, yeah, do people like these games?
Yeah, I don't
That's
know. It
my
didn't.
opinion
It
on
didn't
that.
seem very memorable to me. Honestly, my excitement nosedived pretty hard after the Doom announcement.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look through here briefly. I think we're kind of downhill for the most part after the Doom.
There are some
There's some
interesting
gems
ones,
in
but
there. Yeah, I don't. Do you have anything else to say about State of Decay? I'm sorry for people
no,
who like
not
State of
really.
Decay. I don't know enough about it. Please send us messages at hyappodcast@gmail.com. Let me know if the game is good. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Let us know if you're a decay head.
Here's another game that I have no idea about. Dragon Age Veilguard. I bought Dragon Age at one point when I was younger and I didn't know what it was, so I didn't play it. I know they're kind of like Baldur's Gate esque games. It's is it bio? It's Bioware, right? And they do the writing good. They
I
do the
believe
right
so.
writing good, and
Yeah,
you're all these companions.
I remember Dragon Age 2 was like, if I remember correctly, that was like the really good one.
Mhm. I wrote something that's probably not fair. I wrote they really want to be Baldur's Gate 3 with this trailer, and that's probably not fair because Baldur's Gate 3 probably took a lot of inspiration from Dragon Age, etc., etc., etc. But I'm getting a Baldur's Gate 3 marketing vibe where they saw the success of Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously, they worked on this game a long time ago, but they're marketing it as a Baldur's Gate 3, which I don't think is going to be exactly accurate.
Hmm.
So I just I know these games are considered good. I don't know what to
Yeah,
expect because there's hits and misses in that series. I think you're just peeping the trailer again.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not too much sticking out to me, to be honest.
I'm not a diehard. I haven't really played any of the Dragon Age games. So again, write us a message at hyppodcast@gmail.com. I
Yeah,
will try to play with those at some point. I don't know
yeah.
where to
They were kind
start.
of yeah. So generally, they were kind of going for the introducing characters by saying, "Oh, we need this guy," and then here's this guy. And then at the end, they
Yeah,
say,
Mass Effect 2 style.
yeah. Then at the end, they're like, "Oh, we need a leader, though," and it's implied that that's the player character. It's like, oh, okay.
Look at this really cool character, Dashing Rogueman, doing his dashing rogue things. I don't know. It's
Yes.
unfair. Unfair to be mean to this game. It's probably going to be good. Let's be mean to a game that deserves it.
Yes, a game like Starfield Shattered Space. Why are there so many S's?
They
Looks
love
very
alliteration.
odd. Yeah, anyway, I didn't play Starfield. I did not hear very good things about it. Not just generally not crazy about Bethesda right now, so I don't really have too much to say. Nothing
I,
really wowed me here.
I heard. Whoa! I heard that someone I knew really liked it, and they were like, "I'm playing it every day. It's the best thing ever." Then I talked to them again, and they said, "Yeah, I don't play it anymore at all. It just stopped." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were playing it every single day."
Hmm.
And they're like, "Yeah, I just don't like it anymore." So I will play this at one point. I'm gonna pick it up on a steep sale. I think it's worth waiting for this DLC to come out. If it's like Fallout 4, this will be a good DLC. They'll release two bad DLCs, and maybe one other good DLC. And wait for Game of the Year edition to come out. Buy it for $5. You'll have a great time. Don't buy it right now. Just wait. That's kind of the way to play it. We're gonna jump right into Fallout 76. This game continues to exist. This is a genre of announcements called "This continues to exist." I tried playing Fallout
Yeah.
76 when it went on sale. I didn't give in to the people saying, "Oh, it's buggy, it's terrible, etc." I thought it would be fun. I got it for like $3 or something. I launched the game. It runs bad. I made a character. The game corrupted as soon as I created the character. It crashed. I lost the character from that I spent a lot of time designing, and then I tried to
Hmm.
start the game, and then my character was available in like a loading screen, but it wasn't available in character creation, and then the game wouldn't launch, and then I uninstalled and refund the game, and that was I had 3 game breaking bugs within the first 30 minutes of the game in current year, like a year ago.
Hmm.
So how is this game a thing? I guess people like it. I wish it would run. It's terrible.
Yeah, I feel like everybody knows one person that's like, "Hey, Fallout 76 is good now, guys. I promise."
I don't know. I try. I really gave it the complete benefit of the doubt. I was so excited to play it. I was really thinking I could get into it. It just didn't want me to play it. I can't. How am I gonna have 3 game breaking bugs? I thought it was a meme. I really thought it would be exaggerated, but it happened to me, and I can't get invested in a game where my character is immediately going to destroy itself. So
Hmm.
yeah, they made another DLC. Woo! You
Yeah,
know what? In that
that game
metric, I'm
definitely.
skipping ahead. I'm skipping ahead. Sorry. ESO also got an announcement. They're making more of it. I think it's in Tamriel. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah,
ESO
I
is
don't know.
cool, I guess.
These Bethesda games, I keep forgetting that they like happened.
I know. Some people like them. Some people. I heard ESO is actually pretty good. But
Hmm.
again, you have to really be into it. Otherwise, who cares? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Expedition 33. James, take it away.
All right, Expedition 33. Yeah, so this one actually. So I already said I'm not too crazy about turn-based combat. I think what did interest me a little bit is it seems like they had some quick time events and counters and stuff like that. I'm not sure how standard that is for the genre, to be honest, but it looks like there is some stuff that could break up the things that I don't enjoy about turn-based combat. And I thought the art style looked pretty good as well.
Yeah, it was like Paper Mario style minigame during the combat, which was interesting.
Yeah.
I think the
I
world's cool.
I
That's
guess
definitely
one thing
cool.
that kind of confused me is I can't tell if the idea is that because they're doing this whole thing like, oh, the characters are they're they're dying so it's easier for the next people, but it's like, well, are we supposed to be are these like the characters are going to be with the whole game? Are these like the main characters, or are these like is this just one group? Because like at the end they said we're Expedition 33, so I'm like, oh well, obviously the game's about them. But then they're kind of in the marketing saying, oh, they're all probably gonna die.
Maybe it's a what's that dungeon game? Darkest Dungeon type thing where your characters
Maybe
can die, or I'm not entirely sure with this game. It does have an interesting
it'd be cool.
concept with a painter who paints numbers and all the people of that age die, I guess.
I don't
Very
know.
odd.
It'd be cool if it was like a roguelike or something like that.
Meh. I think it'll be cool. JRPGs are cool. They just are not for everyone.
Hmm.
Okay, this next game, I think you'll probably want to talk about. I think it's one of the most interesting announcements they've
Yeah.
showed.
Yeah, so it's South of Midnight. It kind of started off with this lower FPS cutscene where this woman was riding like this giant frog monster thing, and it was talking this really thick Southern accent. I feel like we don't get many games that really commit to the whole Southern accents for main characters thing, because to be 100% honest, I think that they're scared people are going to find it annoying. I don't really mind it too much, but I liked the dialogue. The music was this kind of folk plus gospel thing, which definitely seemed interesting. It's just a lot of stuff you don't see too often. It looked like it was set in Florida,
Yeah,
like
like a bio mutant Florida.
post apocalyptic Florida.
So Florida.
Yeah, but yeah, doing some really cool stuff with the art style. The animation was also very good, both in the cutscenes and outside of them. I think that they did both styles very well.
Yeah, you mentioned it was a lower FPS. It wasn't like performance lower FPS. It was like Spider Verse intentional stylistic lower frame rate in the cutscene. I believe
Yeah.
the gameplay
The,
isn't like that though,
so
right?
the gameplay isn't entirely lower frame rate, but for like when some attacks hit, they intentionally lower the frame rate of the character themselves to give
Like
it
an
more
impact.
impact. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really liked the way the enemy that they were fighting in the trailer moved. Like they were this giant mass of like pus with a really misshapen body and no legs. And they kind of just rolled around and slammed themselves all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a very unique looking game,
Yeah.
and it walked the line of some of those games that have a character quipping can be cringe. People
Mhm.
did not like Forspoken. This
Yeah.
game has dialogue that's bantery, but it doesn't feel embarrassing.
Yeah. I think the
It feels
dialogue
like
is
quippy
pretty solid.
in a
I
good way.
think I'm not entirely sold on the gameplay just yet. It didn't look super impressive to me, but I think as I said, the writing and the art and the animation all look pretty good. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for this one. I believe this is another. Okay, no, it's not another July release. Release coming in 2025. But
Wow, James. Wow,
yeah,
we're almost
unfortunate.
halfway done. Wow, we are about halfway done.
Yeah,
Wow. I'm saying wow, World of Warcraft DLC expansion. I don't care. I don't play World of Warcraft. I think people who
yeah,
play World of Warcraft don't care.
yeah. They were giving all these callbacks to the old DLCs, and they were acting like it's the final one. I don't really feel like that's the case, but who knows?
Uh, I think the biggest announcement is no Overwatch 2 announcements. Feels bad, man, which is
I
very
mean,
telling.
I don't know. I think they kind of want to. I mean, they probably want to save that stuff for like BlizzCon and things like that. I don't know if they usually do Overwatch 2 stuff at these kinds of things, even if they did get acquired by Microsoft.
I mean, they mentioned Diablo and WoW. They mentioned their other flagships. You know, big
Yeah,
sad.
I don't know. I also think, to be fair, these are like DLCs, and Overwatch doesn't necessarily do that. And I don't know
Hmm.
what they would really announce in a similar vein since they're not doing single player anymore. I imagine if they did still, or not single player, the PVE. Like I imagine if they still were working on the PVE, that they might do something here.
But they
But
aren't.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the announcements would probably be just a new hero, which I feel like
Well,
when they do these kinds of things, it would usually just be BlizzCon.
well, we know what hero. Like
Yeah,
the thing with Overwatch 2, I will give them that. We know all of the news already
yeah.
through they've
We just need
announced. Like
like
there's nothing big.
the like big reveal, like gameplay trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just sad that there isn't anything to reveal. Basically, but you
Yeah.
know what else is kind of sad? The next game.
Oh man, yeah. Metal Gear Solid 3, the remake. So
It's like Delta or something. I don't know.
yeah, my big thing. Where the fuck is the piss filter?
Yeah, no piss
So
in my Metal Gear.
so people talk a lot about how these remasters are downgrading the art style, and I think that sometimes they're just kind of yapping, but in this case I think that the filter that they had for the game was actually a big part of what made it feel honestly unique. And I think that it's not being there is a huge loss. Like the atmosphere is very different looking at this trailer and looking at like some of the original gameplay and all the comparisons and things like that. It just feels a little too generic atmosphere wise.
I think the key thing is that there's no Kojima. and
Yeah.
it's Metal Gear. It's a cash
You can tell.
grab. It's a Konami cash grab. There's no
So
soul. Nintendo hire this man art style.
I don't. It's hard because I'm not sure if I would necessarily say straight up cash grab because it's remakes get done all the time, and maybe it's just that new people want to. People really like Metal Gear and they want to work on it. But I feel like because Kojima isn't there, and honestly probably a lot of the original devs that worked on the game, there's a bit of a lack of understanding of what really made it work and what really made it feel unique. And obviously, I'm only talking about like art style stuff and things like that here. I'm not sure about much else with the game, to be honest. Uh, but I think like even with the explanation point when Snake alerts somebody, it just doesn't. It just looks so out of place in the new art style.
Yeah, I mean, visually, some of the character models and designs look nice, but it does feel like he's running around in Unreal Engine grass, and I don't
Yeah,
know. There's something. It could be good. I feel like it won't be good because money, and it seems like David Hayter's back, maybe, or they're just reusing lines. I don't know if they're new lines or not,
no clue.
but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It's not like they're taking Metal Gear Solid 3 away from us. We can always play the original. It could be an interesting twin snake situation where there's just a weird version. And yeah,
I think the
we're
only
probably
thing
gonna get
that
Ape
could
Escape.
the only thing that could make me I guess like the thing that would make me completely lose faith is if this game is like comically large like a Western game.
Open
At that
world.
point, you would know Kojima's spirit is truly dead.
It's Metal Gear Survive mechanics in the game. You have a stick
Oh
and you have to
man,
hit zombies.
Jesus!
Speaking of hitting zombies, Sea of Thieves. I
Oh
wrote
god,
kind of boring. There's another expansion. It's like season 11 or something of Sea of Thieves.
yeah.
Uh, that game is good, but there's like not enough. It's weird. There's constant content updates, but when you play it, it feels empty and there's like not enough to do. And they keep adding stuff, and it's kind of boring. Sorry,
I
Sea
just
of
didn't really
Thieves.
feel anything watching the trailer.
Yeah,
To be honest, I'm just
it
not that
it looked
into
like more
Sea
of
of
the same.
Thieves.
But are you into Flintlock Siege of Dawn?
A little. I think it was another one of those games where they kind of mixed the gun and melee combat, which at least it's not a Souls like. It looks more like it looks a little it looks like it resembles God of War a little more, maybe. Not sure. It seems like it's an action adventure game. They did the bleach text thing at the end where they plaster these letters on with black and white. I thought that was really cool. There's some cool artistic stuff going on, like with that final boss at the end where they were kind of staring off and he was saying his lines. I don't know. I think it has potential to be cool. I think I'm not sure how great the gameplay is going to be beyond the whole mixing melee and gun combat gimmick thing. I'll need to see a little bit more depth from it to really know. But it's something that's at least on my radar. If I see another trailer come out, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I did not put a lot of thought into that game specifically. I think I cast it under the system of if people start talking about it, then I'll check it out, but tentatively leave it
Actually,
alone.
is this one of the ones that's just okay? It's actually just coming out in July. Okay.
A lot of July releases. Also, we should mention pretty much after every release, it said available day one on Game Pass, which is kind of crazy
Yeah.
for all of
Okay.
these games.
So there's a trailer from a gameplay trailer from a year ago. Yeah, it just kind of looks like God of War, Assassin's Creed style stuff, but there's a little. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. There's a little of. It's just yeah, God of War, Assassin's Creed style stuff.
Do you know what game has gods, but not of war? Actually, there probably is a god of war in this game. Age of Mythology. People like this. Is it a 4X
Yeah,
game? I think it is.
I think it is probably.
People like this. This is so out of my zone. Like 4X
Yeah.
RTS, anything like that is not. I don't know anything about it. I can't say anything to it.
hmm
Do you have any takes on that?
Oh wait, what? Okay, so sorry. I was still looking at the Flintlock gameplay trailer. Apparently, this game got delayed like multiple times.
Oh, I hadn't even heard of it until the Xbox
Yeah,
announcement. So, could be good.
yeah, yeah. I don't have
Age of
too many thoughts
Mythology.
on. Don't have too many thoughts on Age of Mythology.
If you
Looks,
know, you know.
yeah, looks cool for the people that are into that genre. I'm not too into it, honestly.
I feel bad about this next one because it probably is exciting for people who know. It's Perfect Dark. I
Yeah.
haven't played those.
So I haven't played the Perfect Dark games personally, but the original Perfect Dark came out in like 2000 or something, and then they remade it in 2010, and then this is a reboot.
Oh,
The gameplay itself did look promising, and the narrative seems interesting. It's another one of those stealth eavesdropping kind of things. There's some parkour as well, like some Mirror's Edge esque parkour with like wall
some
running and
Brink-esque
nibbling stuff.
parkour.
Yeah. Oh god.
Some Brinkian parkour.
Yeah, definitely some Brinking parkour. But yeah, we'll have to see how it is when it comes out. Definitely, I think that they're trying to make it a big IP again because Perfect Dark came out. And from what I understand, they just kind of never. They didn't keep going with it. I guess it was just meant to be a standalone. Not exactly sure. I would need to play the game.
I feel like we're losing steam as if we were watching the announcement, but there will be some games that I feel like will lift us back up. It is pretty much how it felt to watch.
Yeah,
Where I mean, Perfect Dark was probably cool for people who liked it,
yeah.
but I guess this is a interesting one. Is next is Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. There's a DLC for Diablo 4.
Hmm.
As the
Yeah,
resident Diabloer, you want to give us some wisdom on this one?
yeah. So I believe it's coming out in October. From
Spooky.
what I understand, it's continuing the Nayrel storyline from the main story. It was the girl who's like mom. I don't remember what she did exactly. She like became a demon or something like that. She made a deal with Mephisto.
Hmm.
So I think the idea is that Mephisto is going to be like the boss for this one, and I'm hoping that this is a very extensive DLC since it has been about a year and a half from what I remember. I think Diablo 4 came out in June of last year, right? Let me check. Yeah, June 5th of 2023. Yeah, I'm not sure what the normal wait is for Diablo DLCs, but this one did feel pretty long. I stopped playing the game in like November, maybe something like that. And I don't know. I guess the big thing that made me really fall out of love with Diablo was the seasons felt kind of underwhelming, and every time there was a new season, you basically had to make a new character to participate in it. And I just wasn't crazy about that, especially since I know what build I want to do. If I wanted to do a different build on the same class, I mean, I would just respec and do the different build. Like I for the most part, I already had the items I needed for it. Yeah, I don't know. Not really too crazy about like the refarming up a character kind of thing.
Well, that's
But
funny
yeah.
because the Path of Exile, I think, I don't know if they were the first people to do that, but I remember from playing Path of Exile, it was a season based character
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
I thought the cinematic looked really good, like visually
Yeah,
looked
as
really good.
as usual, Blizzard cinematics are great.
There was a lot of screaming, but
Yeah.
visually looked awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
I also
probably
think
not going to
this
pick this up.
yeah, I also think the story of the cinematic was cool. It's very trippy, I guess. Not in like a psychedelic sense, but in a satanic sense cuz
Oh yeah, it was
it's
weird.
hell and demons and stuff like that.
A lot of arm pulling, a lot of
Yeah,
tendons.
yeah, the
Very
arm
weird.
pulling thing was very difficult to watch. It looked very realistic.
Yeah, it was really gross.
Yeah.
You speaking of gross
Oh wait,
things,
actually, one more
Fable.
thing. One more
Oh
thing.
yeah.
The way at the end of the trailer, when the dude who was rowing the boat ended up being like dead because she demonified him by accident or something like that, or made turned him into stone or whatever happened.
Oops, all
She
demon. Yeah.
yeah, she started rowing the boat, but she only did it one way. That really threw me off. That
Huh.
kind of broke my immersion.
Oh,
That's not how you make a boat go straight. You'd be going in a circle.
maybe it's hell water and the rules are different.
You would
Probably.
you maybe, but the other guy wasn't doing that. He was
Well,
switching sides.
That was a patch of regular water. They entered hell water at that moment.
for sure.
Hire me, Blizzard. Thank you. Anyway, Fable. Fable, that everything I've seen about this new Fable game actually looks pretty fun. I really liked the trailer for Fable. I think it looks goofy, and I mean the art style is a little more realistic, but it still feels like it's keeping its goofiness. It almost reminds me of Saints Row 4, how it looked more realistic, but Saints Row 4 bungled all of the comedy and whatever. It feels like the
Yeah.
spirit of Fable is alive with the new fresh coat of paint. I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Fable's always been an RPG that didn't necessarily take itself super seriously. I was never too into the games myself, but I might check this one out.
I only have
It looks
experience with the
interesting.
first one, which is very goofy.
Hmm.
I hope it's good. I have a good feeling about it, and I hope it is good.
Hmm.
Now, James, if you want to talk about the next game a little bit more?
Yeah, Fragpunk.
Hmm.
It's another one of them 5v5 hero shooters.
But cards. But
Yes.
cards, though. Don't you like
Yes.
cards?
So their big selling point is that they have these cards that change the rules of the game. And to me, it just seemed like it was friends versus friends, but with not shitty netcode, and it's a hero shooter instead. I
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Uh, at the very least, it has a gimmick when compared to other hero shooters, but it's gonna be entirely based on execution.
Yeah.
Especially if the gimmick becomes annoying. Like in Friends versus Friends, there were some cards that were just utterly miserable to play with. So
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
especially if
It
there's
really depends on
RNG
how they do the
elements too.
cards. Yeah, like how they monetize the cards as well, and stuff like that.
I just don't like cards in game. There's people who like cards. I'm not a card enjoyer in games,
Yeah.
so this doesn't appeal to me in any way.
Hmm.
And that's nothing against the game. It's just cards. I don't like cards. But what I
Yeah.
do like is Winter Burrow, a game about don't starve cozy game mouse game. It looks like Don't Starve, and you're like a mouse. It looks very visually cute and nice. You're a mouse, I guess, and you craft. That's what I
Man.
took away from that trailer.
Yeah. It seemed like a bit of a generic indie game setup to me, but I did get a good laugh when the mouse friend got snatched by the owl.
I
I
don't think
cannot
you were
lie.
supposed to laugh.
I cannot lie.
I
I
think you're
did
supposed to
laugh at that.
cry and
I did
gasp.
in fact laugh at that.
I bet
I'm
it'll.
sorry.
I bet. All right, so that's one of those things where it could be a banger, it could be good, could be bad. It's too. I don't want to say that about too many games, but it's too hard to tell with that kind of a game.
Yep.
But the next game, we're almost done. We're getting through these. I think there's gonna be
Oh
some
god,
games we'll
this
talk about
game.
more so, but the next game is Mixtape.
Yeah, the big thing with mixtape is that if you watch the stream back, basically the entire trailer is muted.
Oh yeah, this is the low frame rate Spider Verse type game, and like what James is
Hmm.
saying is the entirety of the VOD is muted for copyright. And I wrote this is going to be streaming poison because it's all real bands
Yeah.
doing the music.
Oh man, copyright laws are. Oh god, they're so outdated.
And also, so we noticed in the South of Midnight game that there is low frame rate intentionally for style, but it seems like the characters in this game are moving in gameplay in low frame rate, and I don't know how that'll feel. That
Hmm.
seems weird.
Yeah, I remember in Spider-Man PS4 and Spider-Man 2, I know they have like an Into the Spider-Verse suit where you actually move at that frame rate. And they actually kind of do make it work with combat and stuff like that. It looks pretty cool. But also part of it is that it's a skin, you know what you're getting. And if you don't like it, you can just kind of turn it off, but that won't be the case with these games. So,
Yeah, I feel like it could get eye strainy if it's
yeah.
in all gameplay. I don't really know what the game is about since the whole trailer was muted. No one's gonna be able to stream that game. That's kind of sad. Not good advertising for your game.
Yeah, unfortunate.
The next game, Microsoft Flight Sim. It looks 2024. It looks really good. Do you like planes? You like flying? It looks good.
I'm
If you
personally not
if
a
you
big
like it.
plane and flying guy.
But it's the best looking plane you'll see anywhere.
Man,
No comment.
yeah, I don't know. Planes flying,
You know what else
they do
is
things.
plain and boring and horrible? Life
Oh
is
God.
Strange, Double Exposure. These games are cringe. I watched a full playthrough of the first Life is Strange game. It's really, really, it's really cringe. It's not for me. Some people like it. I think people are allowed to enjoy things. I just wrote boo. Moving
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I wasn't very impressed with it either.
This game actually looks cool. Indiana Jones
Oh
and the
yeah,
Great Circle. It looks way better than I thought it would.
yeah, I agree. The cinematic parts looked really good. There was actually gameplay in there, which I was very surprised by, and that looked pretty good too. I
First
think
person
they,
gameplay, too.
yeah, I think the highlight of the trailer for me was when the Nazi was like imitating the American cartoons. That was really funny. I think they did that really well.
Yeah, it feels it I think this game actually is gonna hit. Like, I think this game will
Yeah,
actually be very good. Yeah, and I was saying, I think it had the longest trailer of all the games, so they must be proud of this one.
yeah, it was relatively long. It didn't feel very long though. Kind of got through it pretty quickly.
hmm I wrote, "Isn't it cool that he isn't 80 years old?" That is cool.
Yeah,
He's young indie. He's not busting a hip.
he's a youngin.
The voice actor they got to sound like Harrison Ford did a good job too. It's
Yeah.
Harrison Ford esque, but doing his own thing.
Yep. All right, and
Um,
then Mecha Break. Yeah. So neither of us are too crazy about mech games, but it did look like it had a lot of customization. I honestly was surprised it wasn't just a Gundam game. But yeah, yeah. I mean, for people who like mechs, you can make your own mech and fight with it. It's probably great for all the mech enjoyers.
yeah, not my genre. Don't have anything to comment on that. But what I
Yeah,
do have to comment on is an exciting news. Blumhouse Studio Games. That was actually an exciting announcement. So
yeah,
Blumhouse has been producing a bunch of cheap horror movies that have a small budget and make a lot of money relative to their small budget, and they can be cheap and quick and kind of cornbally, but overall pretty liked. I believe they did the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Kids like them. So they apparently are funding. They have a game studio now, and they're funding a bunch of different horror projects. Now it feels like a lot of these games are itch.io games that they fund it,
yeah,
and I'm getting a lot of that. There's a lot of PS1 horror, which
yeah,
again, from playing all these itch.io games, that's the vibe. That's what a lot of people are doing.
yeah. There's lots of variation in art styles between these. It just seems like a lot of creative director very clearly not on drugs, but pretending they're very clearly on drugs, but pretending they're not type games. So
They
yeah,
all looked interesting. They all looked
yep.
interesting in their own way.
Yeah, I think the one that stuck out to me was the spotlight one, where I think they're like some of the monsters they had spotlights on their heads and you had to avoid having them look at you. I don't know, just gave off big like, oh god, what do you call those videos where like there are those giant monsters running around
Siren
with like,
Head?
yeah, Siren Head.
Yeah,
Reminded me
and
of Siren
analog
Head.
horror.
Yeah,
I have high hopes. Any time indie people get money for games is a good time. So that's very exciting.
hmm
The next game is Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. It's Feather Souls.
yeah,
I said cool feathers.
yeah. They had initially had there was this whole monologue about like, oh, you don't know you're the monster until heroes start trying to kill you. But it's like for the rest of the trailer, I didn't really get that vibe. It seemed like the people they were fighting were pretty evil.
Does it feel to you like the games they showed at the end were doomed to fail? Because not doomed to
Probably, yeah,
fail, but like doomed to be talked about less because it's a slog to get through. By
yeah,
the end, you're
most
like,
likely,
okay, I don't care.
yeah,
Sorry, Wu Chang. Like it's like after you watch 70,000 games that are Souls like in Asia or whatever it is, it all becomes a homogenous goo of game,
Man, yeah, like
and it's not their fault.
the humanoid boss was really doing the Souls like pose. By the way, like my lord, he thought he was Artorias.
Yeah, he thought he was him,
Yeah,
but he was not. Speaking of him, Avowed, it looked like New World,
yeah,
and they wrote kind of boring, too many games.
yeah.
Sorry,
It
Avowed.
didn't look too interesting to me personally.
Oh my god, I'm just reading my comments. They're just like, this is so similar to this. This is boring. Oh my
Yeah.
god, what is it? Too many games.
Yep.
I already jumped ahead to Atomfall, which was kind of cool because it was like old timey mech Fallout.
Yeah, this one looked a little interesting. We'll need to see more of it though. There
Yeah,
was
it
one part
was
where somebody was going through like it looked like an abandoned aquarium with a flashlight, and then they were inside of this area that was apparent. It looked like it was drained of water, but it's like coral and stuff like that. It's very cool atmosphere. I think definitely. We'll keep an eye on
yeah,
it.
or like Atomic Heart type
Yeah,
beat. It's neat. It's neat. I think it'll be cool. I feel like
yeah,
it's weird to put it so far at the end, but
yeah. It's quite odd.
oh god, the the next game. Do you have
Oh
any
boy,
care about this?
Assassin's Creed Shadow. I mean, so in this game's defense, while I do think it was kind of inevitable for not only because assassins and ninjas just go well together, but they made a pirate game. Make a pirate game in a series like this, you got to make a ninja game eventually. Um, I think the real money grab for them would have been if they had Assassin's Creed Shadows versus Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and they brought back characters and just said, yeah, this works somehow. Animus.
Yeah, whatever. Desmond's back, even though we
Oh
abandoned him, but
God.
he's back.
Yeah.
Um,
I I wasn't crazy impressed by anything. Just it looks like an Assassin's Creed game. From what I understand, what they're going for is Yasuke, so there's two main characters. There's Yasuke and then there's the ninja girl. I don't really remember her
Blast
name
K.
to be honest. But the ninja girl is supposed to be more traditional Assassin's Creed gameplay, whereas Yasuke is supposed to be the more RPG style that they'd gone for previously, which I think it's a good move, honestly. Especially if you're able to just like free roam as these characters, people can really pick their preference, and they won't get as many complaints about the style of the game. You know, with people who wanted the old style versus people who like the new style and stuff like that.
I think
So yeah,
this is the one. I think they're putting the money into this one. It's but people have been asking for this setting since
yeah,
the game came out, basically.
yeah. I definitely think if there is any Assassin's Creed game in the last like what since like basically since Black Flag, if there's any Assassin's Creed game that you think, oh yeah, this one's gonna be good, it's probably gonna be this one.
Yeah, it really feels like that.
Yeah,
But it's Assassin's Creed. Nothing too original there. If you've played one, you played them all, kind of deal.
yeah,
But start here if you haven't. I'm sure it'll be good.
yeah. Especially since they got rid of the Desmond storyline, you can probably start anywhere. To be honest.
You really can. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
So the next game is Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. I've never played Stalker. I know they're good and acclaimed. I always get them confused with um that other series, which I now forget, Metro. I get them
Yeah.
confused with Metro.
Yeah. I do as well a little bit.
I believe the first Stalker game is very janky in a charming way, and this seems like
Hmm.
hyper polished.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know too much about these games, but it looked good.
I bet it'll
Yeah,
it'll be good.
hopefully it ends up being good.
I think my only comment was, will the money affect the charm of the game if it's hyper polished? And it might.
Yeah.
I have high hopes for it. I should probably get around to playing Stalker. And
Hmm.
with that, James, maybe you could take over this final announcement because I have no frame of reference. I have no context. I don't care particularly.
Damn.
This was the big announcement, though.
Yeah. So Gears of War E-Day. So the concept of this game is that the Gears of War games, there's a major event called Emergence Day, where the locusts, like the primary aliens of the series, kind of just emerged from the ground and you know Borderline took over, and you're spending all of the original games trying to fight back for the sake of humanity, despite being on a planet that you honestly shouldn't even be on because it's not Earth. You totally didn't just colonize these people's homes. But anyway, the trailer I think was pretty cool. I think with Gears of War being a game that quite literally popularized horde mode, we're so used to having these massive hordes of locusts, and they're generally forgettable outside of the berserkers and some of the really strong ones. But they really showed how strong an individual locust was with this trailer. I hope that's kind of the vibe they go for, and maybe lean more into the horror part of Gears of War. And then as far as the actual characters, I mean, so the main character, Marcus Phoenix, everybody knows him. And then at the end, they revealed that Dom's in the game too, who's a other very beloved character. I'm hoping we get to see them meet some of the other characters as well for the first time. That'd be pretty cool. Actually, now I think about it, they did meet some of them for the first time in the original game, so I'm not sure how many of them they could do. But it should be a good game. It's definitely something that people have been asking for a really long time. There was also a lot of drama about the title because with the fifth Gears of War game, they just started calling the series Gears instead of Gears of War, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's Gears of War! Why are you calling it Gears?" Anger, but yeah, they're calling it Gears of War again. The atmosphere looks really good. It's not entirely different from what they've gone for before, but I think it's an atmosphere that people wanted to see more again because the newer Gears of War games didn't really do that ever since the series no longer belonged to Epic Games. So yeah, hopefully it's good. I know lots of people attribute the good Gears of War games to Cliff Bleszinski, and he's obviously not working on it anymore, so there are some doubters, but I'm hopeful.
Will it be better than Gears of War Funko Pop?
Nothing could be better than Gears of War Funko Pop.
I think this has been a podcast. We are at the 2-hour mark. I've been
Yes.
Matt, aka Matt Fondude. Who are you?
I've been James, aka Afro4E.
Oh, you almost said the old tag.
Almost slipped up. Almost slipped up. You almost got me.
You can find us on Twitch and Twitter and Twitch. I'm on Twitch at least, and Twitter and YouTube and comment sections and being confused at game announcements and yelling at clouds.
Yeah, honestly, if you just Google our names, you could probably just find everything. Google does all the things nowadays.
I just Googled your. I found your IP address.
Oh my god.
What? I'm looking at. I'm in your walls right now.
That's crazy.
Listener. The podcast is still going. I didn't end it. I just paused. That was just a long pause.
Yeah.
No, I'm just pausing.
Yeah. You just gotta take a moment sometimes.
Take a beat. Just take a beat. After it's been a 2-hour episode. Go do something else. Go walk. Go outside.
Yeah. If you're not already outside, go outside. If you weren't standing up watching this, I'm praying for you. Stand up.
And goodbye.